Hello everyone. How are you? Yes, I hope you are fine. So, today our topic is types of errors. In the last video, what we have studied errors in measurement, absolute error, fractional error, right? Yes. In the next video, we have studied propagation of errors, that how we solve for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? So today we will study the types of errors. So firstly we will understand, we will revise what is an error. Okay. So the error may be defined as the difference between the measured and the actual values. As I have already told you, the error is the difference between measured and actual values. This is the error. For example, if the two operators use the same device or the instrument for the measurement, then it is not necessary that both the operators will get the similar results. Correct? So the difference between these two measurements is referred to as an error. Right? So to understand the concept of measurement of errors, we have to define the error. So this is the definition of error. It is the difference between measured and actual values. Okay, so these two are true value and measured value. So how we find the true value? True value is impossible to find by experimental means. So that's why true value we find as an average. In the error analysis video, we have seen how to calculate the true value. And what about measured value? Measured value is a measure of an object. So it is to be as accurate as possible. Now, what are the types of errors? So basically, there are three types of errors. So they are classified according to the source they are arising from, right? So from where they are arising, it is known as types of errors. First is gross error, second one is random errors, and third one is systematic errors, right? So these are the three types of error. We will understand one by one that what are gross errors, then what are random errors, and what are systematic errors. After that, systematic errors are classified into three types. These three types are environmental errors, observational errors, and instrumental errors. So firstly, we are going to study about gross errors. That what are gross errors? So when gross errors arise, firstly we have to know it takes into account when suppose we have human oversight, and suppose we did the mistake while reading, okay, while taking the recordings, then we have these type of errors. So most common human error is measurement errors, which comes under the category of gross errors, right? So these errors arise when we have human oversight, okay, when we have mistakes in reading, recording, etc. Okay, so these type of errors arise. So the most common human error in the measurement falls under this category only, right? So we can take for example, what we can take for example, I have measured some reading from the instrument, right? Some it is reading 23 as 28. So this is a human error. Okay, so this is a kind of gross error. Then we can see how we can correct these, like how these errors can be avoided. So these as a care from the proper care. Proper care should be taken when? While reading and recording the data. Okay, so whenever we are recording any data or whenever we are reading any data, we have to take proper care. Okay, next, how we can minimize this error? Calculation of error should be done accurately, right? And next point, how we can reduce the gross errors? By increasing the number of experiment takers who are taking the experiment, who are performing the experiment. We can improve by that also. Okay, what else? If each experimenter takes different readings at different points, then we can take the average of all the values. So in this way we can reduce the gross errors, right? Yes, let us come to the next one. Next is random errors. Okay, so the random errors are the those errors which occur randomly. Okay, so they occur randomly, or we can say irregularly. So hence these are the random errors. So they can arise due to random fluctuations, because we have experimental conditions in the lab. When we perform the experiment, then they can occur. So they can occur because of random and unpredictable fluctuations. Okay, so these fluctuations will occur in the experimental conditions. So which fluctuations we are talking about? So we are talking about the fluctuations like we are calculating temperature. So temperature will be fluctuated. Suppose we are calculating voltage supply will be fluctuated like this. So these will be the random and unpredictable fluctuations. Suppose, for example, when the person repeats the same observation. So if he is getting different readings every time, then what does it mean? That there are some random errors, right? Yes. So which are occurring in the experiment. We are not able to handle those errors easily because it is occurring anytime random errors comes, right? Yes. So these are the random errors. Next, third one is systematic errors. What are systematic errors? Systematic errors are the errors which occur due to some system error, right? As gross errors are due to human errors. It can be due to human oversight, it can be due to mistakes in the reading, it can be due to mistakes in the recording, right? So systematic error is a error which is in the course of a number of measurements carried out under the same conditions. So either it remains constant in absolute value and sign, or it varies according to definite law, because values are changing, right? So how we will define systematic errors? It is a consistent or proportional difference between the observed and true values of something. So then the systematic occurs. Okay, because systematic error is occurring some type in other type. Next we have subgroups of systematic errors. That systematic errors are divided into subgroups. Okay, so the subgroups of systematic errors. Correct. So what about subgroups? Subgroups are of three types. First one is environmental errors. Second one is observational errors. And third one is instrumental errors. Okay, so firstly we will know what is environmental errors. So as we all know, the name is suggesting environmental. That means these type of error arises in the measurement due to effect of the external conditions, right? So we can write these errors arises in the measurement due to effect of external conditions, right? And these external conditions include temperature, pressure, humidity, we can say external magnetic field. So these all are the external conditions which are affecting the measurement. Suppose if we are measuring a value and the temperature is fluctuating, the pressure is fluctuating, or the magnetic field is fluctuating, then we have error in our measurement. So this is called environmental errors. Suppose if you measure the temperature under your armpits, right? So and during the measurement, if the electricity goes out, so room will get hot, then it will affect your body temperature. Okay, so this will be example. Suppose if you are measuring temperature of your body, okay, so temperature of your body is measured by you. Then suppose light goes, then room will get hot, and if room will get hot, then it will affect your body temperature. So there will be difference in the reading. So the environmental errors arise here, right? Next we have observational errors. What are observational errors? So these are the errors which arise due to individual's bias, right? Or if we haven't set up the apparatus, then this error is also arising. If we are not taking the observations properly, then this errors also arise. So there are many reasons of observational errors arise because of individual bias, right? Lack of proper setup of apparatus, right? And next is if we are not taking the observations correctly, that means carelessness in taking observations. Okay, so then the observational errors arises. So these are the reasons. Okay, so observational errors means, suppose if you are taking a recording, suppose the value has to be 1.22, but you have written 1.20. So this is a observational error. Okay, next is the third type of errors, instrumental errors. As the name is suggesting, what does instrumental errors means? So instrumental errors are the errors which arise due to some constructional issues of instruments, right? Suppose there is instrument, it has some constructional errors, or it has some calibration issues, then the errors arises, right? So it arises due to faulty calibration and constructional issues of the measuring instrument. We are using some instrument to measure the value. So if it is having problem, then the error will occur. Such errors also rise due to friction also. Okay. Such errors also arise due to hysteresis of the equipment. Okay. And why the equipment used is faulty? Why? Because we are not using the equipment properly. So misuse of the equipment or neglect of the equipment. So it changes the reading of the equipment, right? So zero error is a very common type of error, as we all know. Okay, so where the zero error occurs? Zero error comes under some instruments like vernier caliper, as we have all used in the labs, screw gauge. So these all contains the zero error. So zero error can be either positive and can be negative as well, right? So there are many errors, and the instrumental errors arises due to many faulty things, like misuse of the apparatus, misuse of the equipment. You can write apparatus as well. Okay, if we are not using the devices properly, then they are creating the problem, right? So we have covered all the types of errors: gross errors, random errors, systematic errors, then the subgroups of systematic errors. Environmental errors were the errors which were arising in the measurement due to effect of the external conditions. So if external conditions will change, then the reading will change. After that, we have seen observational errors. Observational errors are the errors which arises because of the carelessness in taking observations, lack of proper setup of apparatus. So then these errors arise. After that, instrumental errors. So these errors arise due to faulty calibration or faulty construction issues of the instrument. Suppose if we are using screw gauge, vernier caliper, then there is some error. If it is not constructed properly, then it also has some error. So zero error is very common type of error in these two instruments, right? And it can be positive as well as negative. Next, we can see how to reduce the errors in the measurement. This is the last topic. How to reduce the errors in the measurement, right? So how to reduce the errors in the measurement. So we can see, keep an eye on the procedure, right? So we can say, write one by one, that use the instrument with the high precision. If we will measure the value with high precision, then the chances of error will be less. So we can write, use the instrument with the high precision, right? Use multiple measures for the same construct, right? We can see, formulas used should be correct. Formulas used in the measurement are correct, right? You have to make sure. Now you can check the value, that measured value. Cross check measured value, right? For improved accuracy. So whatever value we are measuring, you can check that. You can also test the instruments for better accuracy, so that we can get better accurate value. Okay, and you can check key measurements are under controlled conditions, not the measurements under controlled conditions. So these are some points to reduce the errors in the measurement, that we should use the instrument with the high precision, right? If we are not using the instrument with the high precision, then what would happen? There are more chances of errors, right? Next is use multiple measures for the same construct. So we can use multiple measures for the same construct. Next, formulas used in the measurement are correct. So we have to make sure that formulas we are using in calculating the values should be correct. Next is cross check the measured value for improved accuracy. If we are improving the accuracy, then we have to make sure that formulas used and value measured is correct. Next is test the instruments for better accuracy. So we can test the instruments, measuring instruments we are using, so that they can be for better accuracy. Correct. Last is note the measurements under controlled condition. So you can say ki if we are measuring the values, we can write that ki they can be minimized, right? So these are some types of errors we have studied. In the next video, we will do some questions based on the errors. Okay, thank you.